Leafs management faced the media today where someone let it slip that they will be shopping the core for this offseason, and there are going to be some major moves coming for this Toronto Maple Leafs organization. I'm going to dive into that and much more coming up on this episode of Hat-Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 87% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you're big Leafs fans, if you're big hockey fans, and you don't want to miss out on anything that's happening around the hockey world, make sure you're down below and hit that subscribe button. But before we get into the Leafs management comments, we got to talk about this, and that is the Leafs injuries during the playoffs were revealed at this press conference today. And as we take a look from Chris Johnston on Twitter, he says, injury updates from Brad Treliving. He said, Auston Matthews became really sick after Game 2, suffered a hit in Game 4 that presented head injury issues. And they say William Nylander, obviously we knew this, he suffered from severe migraine. So having two head injury issues is very scary for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Then we have Joseph Woll with a sprained back that I'm assuming, suffered in that Game 6, which wasn't allowed. Which didn't allow him to play in that crucial Game 7. We have Bobby McMann, who had an MCL knee sprain. This was before the playoffs. And Connor Dewar was playing through a shoulder injury where he required surgery. And they say here the timeline on Connor Dewar is he will be back in time for camp in the spring, which is good news. And obviously this kind of sucks if you're Toronto Maple Leafs fans to hear this. Obviously, you don't want to make excuses of why you lost and blaming it on injuries and stuff like this, but it is tough to deal with these types of situations in the playoffs against such a great team like the Boston Bruins. And hearing that Auston Matthews obviously was sick and then got a hit, and which led him to having head injury issues is scary, because obviously Auston Matthews is your best player, your best goal scorer in the entire world. So hearing that he was going through some head issues and people, were kind of making fun of why he was out of the lineup, saying he didn't want to play and all this stuff. It's just great to get some clarity on this, that wasn't the case and that he was actually dealing with something quite serious, and that's why he was left out of the lineup. So that is good to hear. We hope he recovers good and can get these head injury issues, kind of resolved and figured out over the offseason. Obviously, we had William Nylander. We knew he had severe migraines. I'm sure he was dealing with some of that while he was playing in those last couple of games, but it did not affect his play, that's for sure. He was the best Maple Leaf on the ice every game he was out there, so we hope, obviously, he can get those issues sorted as well during this offseason. Joseph Woll with a sprained back. Obviously, he dealt with injuries at the beginning of the year and then had to deal with this after Game 6. I mean, it's just a sad season for Joseph Woll. Obviously, this guy is the future in the net for the Toronto Maple Leafs, so we hope he can get himself healthy and just getting to a good training regiment over this offseason to help him combat any injury issues that he may have currently. Obviously, Connor Dewar, this guy, I believe, is RFA this season, so obviously you're expecting him to come back on a maybe 2-3 year deal. So hearing that he's going to get this shoulder issue checked out, get the surgery, and be back in time for training camp is great. And just seeing the way that Connor Dewar played during a shoulder injury just shows how much heart he has for this team and how much the playoffs means to him. So it's great to see him, play through this, battle through this injury, and still play great hockey while he's dealing with this. And obviously, Bobby McMann, a guy I was very excited for in the playoffs. I don't believe he got to play in a game in the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. But obviously, dealing with an MCL knee sprain is tough when you're a hockey player. Skating is such a big part, and when you can't use your knee, you can't skate. So, I know a lot of people may use this as making excuses oh, the Toronto Maple Leafs are dealing with injuries. This is why they didn't do this and all this. But every other team deals with injuries during the playoffs. It's just the way of hockey. People play through it. Some injuries, like head injuries, you can't play through because, I mean, that's just scary. You don't want to put yourself at risk of never playing hockey again. So we hope the Toronto Maple Leafs can get back healthy for next season and can resolve these issues over the off season. And, just best of luck to everyone that we mentioned here today in their recovery. We hope the best. And, it just sucks to see that, the whole season, the Leafs were dealing with injuries on the blue line. And then come playoff time, it was injuries in the forward group. So hopefully next year we can see a full healthy Leafs team, because if we did, this would have been a banger team going into this playoffs. I have no doubt in my mind. I still think they played pretty decent. There were some players who maybe didn't, but I think maybe with a little bit of a retool from the management here, we will see a better Leafs team on the ice next season. That's kind of leading into what we're talking about here, and that is the Leafs management speak out on the future of the core four. And yes, we see a quote here from Brad Treliving. He says, winning teams have the unique ability for everybody to feel if they weren't a part of it, they wouldn't accomplish their goal. Regardless of minutes played, dollars earned, everybody's important, and that is what it's going to happen here. And if you kind of read between the lines and take on this quote, it kind of seems like Brad Treliving may be throwing some shade at the core four here in this quote. And they also go on to say these things here in the press conference today. Chris Johnson kind of, read between the lines and figured it all out here. He said, without saying it explicitly, the Leafs leadership / management couldn't have made it more clear reading between the lines that they're going to explore moving one or more members of the core this summer. And hearing one or more is huge because, the core members, obviously we have Austin Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley. These are the kind of the core that I think. So hearing that they may move one or more of these members is kind of crazy. It kind of seems like the Toronto Maple Leafs need to blow up here this offseason for them to have some success in the playoffs, because Brad Treliving knows and the management knows that the core four isn't going to work. A lot of you guys down below in the comment section say, hey, obviously, with a new coach, this core four could work. But in my opinion, I don't think the core four can work. We've seen it over the last 5+ seasons, and it hasn't worked. Any year they've been put out in the first round, they only made it to the second round once. So it makes sense if I'm Brad Treliving coming in to, after my first full season as GM, seeing what, Kyle Dubas has built, to kind of blow it up and to make it into his own team. And that's what makes the most sense to me. I think if the Toronto Maple Leafs go out there, they trade Mitch Marner, maybe they trade one more member of this core. I don't think it will be Willie. I don't think it will be Matthews, but it could be Riley, it could be Tavares. Nobody's quite sure of where their head's at right now, but everybody knows that they are going to do something here this offseason to blow this team up and just to, shake it up, because that's exactly what they need. They need a major shakeup in their ranks to be a successful playoff team. Yes, the core four has worked for regular season success, but the regular season success doesn't matter if you can't get it done in the first round of the playoffs. Brad Treliving knows this. Brendan Shanahan knows this. Everybody in the Leafs management knows this. So if they can get their players to remove the no move clause to a potential trade destination, I believe they will get a deal done here with Marner, with whoever else it is. I think something major is coming for this Toronto Maple Leafs team this offseason. And we also did see Brendan Shanahan take the stand where he said he was asked if he still believes the core of the Maple Leafs can win. And his long answer did not include the word yes. And Brendan Shanahan has been there. He's been through it with every Leafs fan. And to hear him kind of give a long-winded answer and not say yes that he believes this core four can win is another thing to add on top of the pile that Chris Johnston said. It kind of seems he doesn't believe himself that the core four can win because they haven't done it. So it just seems that Brendan Shanahan, Brad Treliving are going to have some deep talks, which I'm sure they've already had, about blowing this team up, about, starting fresh. Not really starting fresh, but just retooling this team to be a successful playoff teams. Obviously, they're going to look at the formula. They're going to look at the teams like Vegas. They're going to look at the teams like Tampa Bay, the teams like Florida, teams that are getting it done right now or have got it done in the past. And they're going to say, how can we swing our own way onto this kind of roster structure to make it successful in Toronto? And I think that means blowing up the core four, getting out a $9-10 million contract, and bringing in 2 to 3 guys who can fill out that amount of money and fill out this roster to make them a successful playoff team. That's the big news coming out of this press conference today, is to look out for a big move coming this summer. And we're going to keep you guys up to date on it when it comes out, the rumor mill, everything that's happening around this big off-season trade. We are going to be covering it here, so you're not going to want to miss out on that. So go down below, hit that subscribe button. And I think it's just going to be a huge summer if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. So strap your seatbelt on, because it's going to be a fun ride. But we haven't heard from you guys. Do you think that they're going to blow up the core four? Let me know down below in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you guys. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Guerrilla Tactics. He says, Bruce Boudreau needs to be on the bench. Don't care if he's a head coach or is one of the assistants. We need him for the culture. And I definitely agree, Guerrilla Tactics. I mean, Bruce Boudreau is an amazing personality, an amazing coach. So maybe having him on the bench as an assistant coach would be really fun to see, and I think we would get some all-time post-game comments from him. He'd really bring the morale of this team up, and it would be fun to see. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,500 subscribers. So if you want to stay tuned on this Maple Leafs offseason journey with us, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're down there, make sure to leave a comment on anything we talked about today. You might be featured on the next comment of the day. And if you want to check out a video we did yesterday talking about the Leafs coaches situation and some people that may fill the new head coach role, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.